Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm a sleep physician. And if you're Insomnia, this channel is for you. David is emailing with a couple of questions, including light therapy, which he's excited about trying, but he's wondering what I think about that. And he's wondering if some people just don't produce enough melatonin or adenosine. We'll talk about that in this episode. Hi there, hope you're doing really good today. And for the last episode for this week is going to be one where we address a couple of questions from David. So for a little bit of background, David has had trouble sleeping since the beginning of this, I guess at least several months now, 7-8 months, something like that. And he is undergoing a cognitive behavioral therapy with, I think, a face-to-face, traditional CBTI, and has had some improvements. So that's always super encouraging, but has a couple of questions. So let's dive in here and read. He says, the next step my doctor discussed is light therapy. I'm wondering what you think. I'm excited about it because I realized at my job, I'm basically in a large walk-in closet, windowless from 4 to 9 p.m. 4 days a week for the last 14 years. Plus, for various reasons, I'm always woken early. So maybe over time, my body has taken that as a cue to move my circadian rhythm. Well, here are my thoughts on this. Out of everything that's out there in terms of supplements and gadgets and things like that, the one thing that I sometimes tell people that, maybe you should consider is light therapy. And in your circumstances, it does make the most sense. If you don't have access to natural light, then light may be good. And how does light therapy work? Well, it's basically, for those of you not familiar with it, light therapy is simply just like a screen, a little box that emits a really bright light. And it's mostly known as a treatment for seasonal depression. People who feel depressed when it's wintertime, it's dark outside, and it's been shown that exposing yourself to more light has a positive impact. And when it comes to sleep, I haven't really read any big studies on this. I doubt that there are any big studies. There are probably some smaller studies, but anecdotally, I have heard from people who said that using a light box has helped them sleep better. And the way I think about it is simply that when it's like daytime and you're supposed to be alert and awake, and that even though you're not sleeping during the day, the more kind of alert you are, the more far away you are from even like nodding off, dozing off, like micro sleep like that, the more you preserve your body's sleep drive, like its natural need to sleep, and that can then help you sleep at night. So I think it's something that some people may want to consider, but the big thing here is the following: that using a bright light therapy device, in my opinion, is just the same as exercising or yoga or anything like that. Meaning, if you exercise because you enjoy it and it makes you feel good, perfect. If you're doing yoga because you enjoy it, it makes you feel better, perfect. If you're doing it hoping that will make you sleep better at night, that's not good. Because what then happens is it becomes a sleep effort. What happens is you're like, I exercised an hour and a half today, let's see how much I sleep. And then at night you're like, oh, I'm not sleeping, and I exercised 1.5 hours, I have to do more exercise, or it didn't work, what's happening? So if you go ahead to use a light device, I would say do it to see if it makes you feel more refreshed, if you feel better, as you're doing it or right after you're doing it, and don't expect it to have any impact on your sleep. If it does impact your sleep in a positive way, great. If it doesn't, because you don't want to be in that spot where you're like at night, like, I used the light therapy device today, am I going to sleep more? I'm going to sleep less? Is it going to affect me? Because if that happens, you bring more attention to insomnia, you become more preoccupied with it, you have worse, insomnia becomes worse. So I think that's a big, an important take-home message. And now, the other thing here, let's continue reading actually. I know I've heard you say on the channel, insomnia is anxiety, hyperarousal driven, not hormonal, but can hormones biology play a part in setting the stage for optimal or suboptimal rest? Like, can people be natural light sleepers or don't produce enough adenosine or melatonin, or too much is released too soon during the night? I'm just wondering if that is a thing. Well, my first initial reaction when I read this was like, if you're wondering if that is a thing, then it becomes a thing, because you're spending time thinking about whether some people are light sleepers. Maybe I'm a light sleeper. Maybe I don't have much and stuff like that. The mere fact that you're spending time thinking about this is a big thing. Oftentimes the mere fact people try to figure out why insomnia is, that becomes a problem. And now, to answer that question, there's definitely like natural variety. Like some people are more light sleepers, like their whole life they've been light sleepers, and that probably doesn't change. And some people have absolutely no predisposition towards insomnia at all. They don't react that way even to stress. So there's definitely natural variability, but I think the most important thing is that, like, if your mind is in a state where you're trying to figure out what insomnia is, what causes it, why people have it, then that becomes a problem. So I hope this was helpful to you, David, and anybody else tuning in. I hope you have a really nice weekend, and I will be back here on Monday. Until then, take it easy.